Yo, good evening, everybody. How you doing? This is your coach Renz, and I want to take a few minutes just to tell you guys about the law of gender from the Emerald Tablets and as described in the Kabbalion. I'll show you the Kabbalion. The reason why I want to talk to you guys about this is because without understanding the law of gender, then manifesting anything in your life is near to next to impossible. You may be able to manifest certain things, small things, or you may do it, but you're doing it subconsciously. You're not doing it with the full knowledge, full understanding. You just happen to do it correctly for one thing, but then you can't figure out why does it not work for the next thing. And one of those problems is that you do not understand the truth of the I am. And I'm going to take a brief moment to explain just that little piece of the law of gender. Because if you are a patron of mine on my patreon.com/Coach Renz page, then you will be able to get the full information concerning the law of gender and how to utilize it properly so that you can manifest things in your life in totality and as often as you choose. Because the books that are telling you about manifesting are leaving out vital information, which is why you're not getting there, why it's not happening as often as you would desire for it to happen, why you're not having like 80 and 90% manifestations instead of just 20 and 5 and 10% manifestations. So understanding this little bit is going to clue you in on where you need to start thinking and how you need to start thinking. You see, the I am discourse would have you to believe that if you start stating that I am, whatever it is that you put after the end of I am, is what you will become. This is taken from the biblical resources and some other resources where the God, said that told Moses, told other people, depending upon what source you're reading, that I am. Tell them that the I am sent you, that I am that I am. And this discourse has caused people to think that if they stood in a mirror, if they looked upon themselves and they say, well, I am a king, I am wealthy, I am a leader, that you will then become a leader. But the misunderstanding is this. The reason why the all or God says I am, because the infinite living mind has to already be complete and be the I am. Whereas people with finite minds, we have two identities within the I am, which is the I and the me. Freud would have called it the ego and the id. But we are both I and me. The me portion is the portion that is becoming, whereas the I portion is the being that we are. But you have to be able to separate it. So when you say I am, you are stating your being, your current being. It is the I am. The I cannot become anything until it first happens to the me. And the me is the part that's becoming. So if it was said correctly, it would be said as me am wealthy. Me am whatever it is that you choose. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds weird. It doesn't sound like the way you should say it. It sounds off, right? But oftentimes when we're using language, when we're using our tongue to manifest things, to change the vibration of things, it may not come out the way that you want it to, or the way that sounds popular, or the way that sounds good or cool, or however you want to phrase it. Sometimes it comes out different. But in order for the me to become anything, then the I have to implement the will. You see, this is the law of gender. You see, the law of gender simply states that gender is in everything, and everything has its masculine and its feminine. Gender manifests on all planes. So to manifest on the mental plane, and we know that every creation starts with a thought, you have to understand the difference in your I am statements. Now, there is a lot more information to unpack as far as the law of gender is concerned. But until you understand the difference of the I and the me, then you will always be hindered. You will never fully understand the duality of mind and how that works. You will never understand how the conscious subconscious works, the involuntary and the passive mind works. You won't understand your male and female energy, the God and goddess inside, the kundalini being raised, the two serpents, the third eye opening and how the third eye connects with it. You can read about the law of correspondence, but you will not understand as above, so below until you first grasp the idea of the I and the me. the law of mentalism that says that all creation begins with a thought. And if you want to create something, manifest something, you have to be able to think of it first, but without understanding the I and the me, without understanding the law of gender, you will find yourself at a loss. As I said, this is explained even to greater details on my Patreon page. And as I explained before, my Patreon page is where the deeper information will be from now on. That's where the depth is. That's where how we go through and what how this is manifested, and so and all the examples of how this is being created in your life, and how you are the battles you must fight and how to fight them. You will find it there. So I hope you guys will take this opportunity, join the Patreon. There's a lot more information that's going to be there. There's information about I'm putting information on there about finances. Depending upon when you're seeing this, there are financial programs videos I've done that'll be there, or that I'm doing. There are relationships, sexual alchemy, tantra, there's spirituality, the Hermetics will all be there. I conduct a Hermetic alchemist group. All that information is going to be there, if depending upon when you're seeing this, if it's not already there. So, and there will consistently be more information, and question and answering will be there, and live podcasts and all kinds of things will be on Patreon. That is really where I'm going to live. That's where I'm living. So if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, please join us on Patreon, and that's where the meat is going to be. That's where the true wealth of information is going to be, and that's where we're going to grow together. So I look forward to it. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.